Right, guys, thank you so much. First class today. So we will learn about what is web analytics. In the last class, I told you how to approach the course, what I expect from you. I expect you to be diligent, religious. Make sure that you're committed to this course. Spend at least 20 to 40 minutes every day. Whether you have a class or you don't have a class, make sure you spend 20 to 40 minutes every day. Don't just learn from me. Try to read a lot of articles. Try to read a lot of material on the internet. I'm going to give you a lot of material. There's so much of content available in my YouTube channel, and you might find other trainers who might contribute to your learning. Please make sure that you are committed to learning this. And I told you, remember the last class I told you, the induction class. This is the first class. The induction class I told you, repetition is the key. Whoever remembers the most wins. In this world of digital analytics or digital marketing, whoever remembers the most, they only win. Only these people win. So you have to make sure that you revise whatever you learn again and again and again. Right? And please don't skip my classes. Right? Do not skip my classes. Whatever I teach you in each of the class is very important. Every word I speak is important. There is some connection to classes that might be in future, or there would be some connection to classes that I have had maybe as I progress through the course. Right? So please take notes. If you have a pen and paper, please write down, or if you're writing on a laptop, please make sure that you write these points. Right? Whatever you feel is important, write down, so you know that you have to go back and research and ask yourself more questions. If you don't find any, please come back to me and ask me. I'm available. You can post them in the Facebook community that I've added you guys. If you have not joined the community, right, please make sure that you join. You can post your questions there. I will be there to answer Raj sir and all the other contemporaries, my other trainer. They'll all be available to help you, assist you in your journey. Right? Whether you work with a client, you have any questions, please feel free to come to us. But don't ask us to do the work. Right? Don't ask us to do the work. I say, you learn from me, but don't ask me to do the work, because I get paid for doing that work. Right? So please don't ask me to do the work. Instead, ask me, how do I do it? I'll explain you. I'll guide you in the right direction. Right? So first thing, what is web analytics? Right? We are learning about tracking and measurement, which fundamentally comes under the world of web analytics. So if we were to discuss about web analytics, first we should understand what is analytics. Analytics is something that you analyze data. Analysis of data is analytics. So first you need data, and only then you can analyze. Right? So inside analytics, a lot of verticals. The vertical that we are operating is web analytics. You might have, or people also call it marketing analytics. People also call it digital analytics. So whether people call it digital analytics, or people call it web analytics, or people call it as marketing analytics, all of them, may be used as synonyms in one way or the other. Right? But you have to purely understand the context in which is referring to those words. Right? So in this world of tracking and measurement, it is very important, because you cannot make any decision, a business decision, without actually having the data. And remember one point, it's not important to have a lot of data. It's important to have right data. And I always tell this, data is only as good as you interpret. So when you're running campaigns, when you have a website, you have to make sure that you collect data about what people are doing on your website, where are they coming from, and some basic points, how much time they spend, where do they land, which pages they go to, do they buy, do they not buy, if they buy, why they buy, why they don't buy, right? What's the funnel like, how do people navigate on my site, what's the session duration like, which content people are consuming most, how are people engaging on my website, a lot of other stuff. It might be user behavior data, but when you run ads on Google and you bring traffic to the site, you want to explicitly know what those people who are coming from Google ads are doing on your site. If you're bringing people from Quora, right, you want to explicitly know what people who are coming from Quora to your site are doing, whether they're doing something that is important to your business. See, there's thin difference between engagement and distraction. Right? A lot of people do a lot of activity on your site, but they don't end up doing the most important thing that you want them to do. Right? So that's why in the world of analytics, or in the world of tracking and measurement, you always say, or in the world of conversion rate optimization, people always say, there's a thin line of difference between engagement and distraction. Right? So please make sure that you understand all these things. And today being the first class, I will also suggest you to read one book. This book is available. If you were to go to Google and search, you'll find a PDF also. Right? Or maybe you might want to order one book from Amazon. The name of the book is Making Websites Win. Right? This is an amazing book that tries to add some ancillary skills to what you will be learning. Give me that book. So this is the book that I am recommending you. Please make sure that you go and buy this book if it is available. On Amazon.
Who's the author, Prashant?
It is actually by a company called Conversion Rate Experts. There's only one book which says Making Websites Win. It is written by a company, an agency called Conversion Rate Experts. So please, you can buy this book. This book will give you a lot of knowledge on how you can use web analytics and how you can use this tracking and measurement skills to really improve a business. Why are we learning all these things? Because we want to improve the conversion rate. Why am I doing all these things? Because I want to optimize the experience of user on my site. Prashant, I want to give them personalized experience. I want people to enjoy. I want people to retain. I want people to buy from me, and not just buy from me. I want people to be satisfied. I want people to come back and give me feedback and buy more from me. All of those things happen when you work on stuff that is not just track and measurement, but also work on the business side of it. But you have to understand how this tracking and measurement and all the data that is collected through this will help you improve your business, right?
So this
So
book is available in a Kindle format. I'd read it.
I don't know if you read it. Please read it again.
Yeah, I will read it again. Long back. I'll read it again.
Please, please, please. It's a wonderful book. If you can write down points, I'm telling you, because when you work with clients, even if you optimize their whole business by 1%, they might see a revenue increase by 50%.
Okay.
Right? And trust me, not me saying this. Google says this, right? Google Ads, which the Google Ads is the platform, Google is the company. Google says this. People who use accurate measurement and tracking with first-party data will see 30% reduced cost per result and 25% increased revenue. And I told you in the induction class, or maybe I'll repeat it again as many times as possible, tracking allows us to talk to the ad platforms. Why we invest into ad platforms? Because we want to reach our prospects, so the right people. Reaching right people is not enough. You want to use the machine learning capabilities of Facebook and other platforms to be able to reach people who are likely to give you revenue. Reaching right people, but you don't get any business output, there's no point in it, right? You want Facebook to reach right people, but also reach those people who are likely to give you business. And that will come if only Facebook knows who are those customers, right? So a lot of things. So it allows me to talk to ad platforms. That's one thing. Second thing, when it comes to analytics, it allows me to understand why people buy on my site. What's the user journey like? A lot of stuff. So, but also one thing, we are not focused on tracking everything that people do on my site. If you want to track everything people do on the site, you can do it. Is there any problem? No, there's no problem. You can do it. But question is, am I tracking something that will add value to me? Am I really going to spend time interpreting that data that I've collected? Is the important question. That's why when you get a website or when you build a website, when you work with a client, first thing, ask him, what is the purpose of your website? And then from this standpoint, go through the website and see. He told me the most important thing on the website is filling the form. But when people come to this website, is it driving me to do that action? If it is not driving me to that action, you might tell me, you put amazing content on the website, but people will consume content, but people never do what you want them to do. Right? A lot of times what happens is businesses are so focused on themselves and the skills they have, and how good their product is. They forget about the customer. The product or whatever you're building is eventually for the customer. So if your content on your website is not prioritized for the user who's going to consume it, there's no point in doing whatever you're doing, right? A lot of times what happens is people don't have a right product and still do marketing for it. They have a right product, but they don't present it the right way and still do marketing for it. And all this tracking and measurement will allow you to track, but what are you going to do with that is most important, right? So that is why it's important that you understand some marketing stuff. That is why it is important that I wanted people who have some good experience into marketing, whether it be paid ads or people who do organic marketing, but understand the behavior and the nature of people and what happens on the internet, basically, right? So yeah, so let's start with my session for today. I will start with my PDF document, which essentially runs us through. One moment.
Prashant, what does this book essentially talk about? The book
It
which
talks
you...
about conversion rate optimization.
Okay.
It talks about conversion rate optimization. Right? It talks about conversion rate optimization. So see, ultimately, whatever we're doing, we want to be adding value. Why are you learning all these things? Because when you work with a company, you want to really add value. right? And a lot of value can be added if only you can understand and interpret the data. But data is collected through tracking and measurement. So if you don't understand tracking and measurement, forget about collecting data, right? And if you don't have data, how are you going to analyze and make reports, right? So that's why tracking and measurement is critical, right? So if you want, maybe before I start, I want to show you one image. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen, guys?
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes.
I want to show you something. Wait, let me go to Events Manager. I don't want to run through my stereotyped presentation or deck. I want to show you something. When you go to Facebook and you go to custom conversions, look at this picture. It says you measure and only then you can optimize. Forget about this one. Use whatever to measure the interactions that matter to your business. This can be used in a ton of ways. You can create audience. You want to tell people or Facebook to go after such people. That might be your conversion action that you want to report on, right? But if only you measure, only then you can optimize your campaigns, right? And Facebook says, I have it somewhere. Facebook says, one sec. The thing that you see on the screen is not mine. It is Facebook that is telling us this. Measure to grow. Facebook says this, measure to grow. Right? And Facebook says drive double-digit growth by measuring marketing right. This is exactly what I've been telling and doing for last many years. This is not mine. This is what Facebook said. This is what Facebook said. Measure to grow. Right? So let's jump into the deck. This is the class number 1, the first class, the fundamentals that you need to know. Let's start with what is web analytics. Web analytics is the process of collecting, measuring, analyzing. It's the process of collecting the data. How do we collect the data? People come to my website and they do actions. As and when those people do actions, I want to collect the data. Collect the data about what? What actions they've done. Whether they've scrolled, whether they have clicked, whether they have downloaded something, whether they watched a video, whether they completed the video, if they have watched 50% of the video, if they have scrolled, how much they've scrolled, if they have submitted a form, which form they've submitted. You can go deep into it. Prashant, don't tell me just about submitting a form or tracking submissions. Tell me what options they have selected inside of it. So I know 100 people have submitted, out of them 30 people who submitted the form actually selected this. 20% of people who submitted the form actually selected this. Because those insights will tell me about how I should change my ad strategy. Right? Because if I know if 50% or 55% of the people who submit my form is talking about this particular drop down, I know this is the message that people want to use or people are liking it. So I can take it and put it in my ad creative, because that will work better for me, because exactly, this is what people are expecting or wanting to have from me, right? So it's basically the process of collecting, measuring, and analyzing and reporting data related to the behavior of visitors on websites and digital platforms. When I say digital platforms, apart from web, you also have app. The primary, it is not only about app. For example, see, I'll tell you, this option is there. Long back, 5 years, 4 years ago, when I was running the marketing and measurement bootcamp, we had international students in the office. I had a big coffee machine, a solid coffee machine worth 2,000, 2,50,000. Right. So what we thought those days when I was doing this teaching, I was telling, hey, Google Analytics does not simply collect data about visitors coming to the website. If I want, I can build a small application that will be connected to my coffee machine. And every time you go and use or take a coffee, I can send data to analytics saying so and so ID took coffee or took milk or took cappuccino at this point in time. I can send that interactions that you're doing with coffee machine over to Google Analytics as well. Right? So don't think Google Analytics is only for websites. If you want, I can send data of some machine to analytics as well. Right? But there, Google does not know who the user is. That's why whenever we send data from such coffee machines, example, I'm telling you, I have to send the ID, the user ID with every event. Because through user ID only I can identify who that user was, right? But when it comes to real analytics, if it is a website, imagine if it is a website. When you go to any website, your website will have Google Analytics tracking code, and Google uses this cookie called _GA. Using this cookie only, Google identifies who the user was, right? This is the ID. This ID is called client ID, right? As we progress through the course, I'll explain to you. But Prashant, this cookie won't be dropped on coffee machine. It's not a website. Yes, that is why we send user ID, the ID that I specify to each of my student or employee, right? So I'm just telling you, digital platforms. The primary goal of web analytics is to understand and optimize web usage to improve the effectiveness of a website or online service. If you see the world of web analytics, it is under the top level category or the umbrella data analytics. Inside data analytics, there are a lot of verticals. Some people might work in business analytics, some people be a data scientist, some people work on marketing analytics, some people work on web analytics, some people work on app analytics. But in our case, we are working on web analytics, right? We're working on web analytics because it essentially talks about collecting the data of visitors when they come to my website and do a lot of actions or activity. So in this class, we learn about what is web analytics, understanding the web analytics process, what is conversion tracking, why are we tracking, Prashant? Finally, whatever I'm tracking, I want to analyze the data to understand if they are doing the conversion, if they're not doing conversion. If they are doing conversion, who are those people who are doing conversion? What approach they are using to convert? If they are not doing, why they are not doing, right? Ultimately, the measurement endpoint, through this only, I want to compare all the other actions that you do on my site. So we'll talk about conversion tracking. We'll talk about importance of web analytics in online business and what are the popular web analytic tools and how does it help to measure a business. And at the end of the class, I will also explain to you the 3 myths the people have about analytics. The 3 myths. People think analytics is this, but that's actually a myth. So we'll talk about that at the end of the session. So basically, if you try to understand the web analytics process, let's go back again, is a process of collecting, measuring, analyzing, and reporting. You analyze and report because basis that only you try to understand, right, what is important for my business and what decisions I should make based on that. So understanding the process, a visitor visiting the website, browsing the website, as he comes to my website, he does a lot of events or he does a lot of actions. In the technical language of analytics, whenever he does anything, we call it as an event. We call it as an event. You come to my site, page view, it's an event. You scroll is an event. You submit a form, I call it as a generate lead event. If you add to cart, I'll say add to cart event. You see a product, I'll say view item event, right? So when people come to the website, they fire different events. Capturing those events with different tools. What we do, as and when he does those actions, we track those actions with different tools, right? We have to track them. But how are we going to track them? We cannot put some person and say, hey, watch it. He might watch me standing next to me. But what if people come to my website from different parts of the world and different places? So there has to be some tool or some software that actually tracks and watches them, right? So we use different tools to capture those events. And once we capture those events, what we do, we send those events to different ad platforms and different analytic platforms, right? So we track them, right? We capture those events and we send those events to different ad platforms and different analytic platforms. Once the data is sent to those platforms, you analyze those data and generate a report. You analyze those data points or data sets and create a report based on that data. Once you have the report, what you will do, you will make business decisions based on those reports. And once you have the decisions, what you'll do, you'll serve your product services, right, in a better way, right? You'll change your strategy, right? And then you can use that data to even do remarketing. You can even do remarketing, right? A lot of stuff can be done. You can create some amazing laser targeted remarketing audiences, right? I'll tell you one example, right, to give you a glimpse, because you're all experienced. I was working with one client where they never wanted to do remarketing to everybody who visit their site. They only wanted to do remarketing to people who added to cart at least 3 times. Because if they put all the users in a hierarchy, they would give more value to people, not purchasers, because you already purchased. I want those people who added 3 times but never purchased. Right? So they want to do remarketing to those people because these are the people who are highly probable. You know how Google creates predictive audiences? Like this only. Right? So first they have data points, then they have huge data sets to analyze what kind of people convert next. In fact, inside of Google Analytics, Google creates predictive audiences, people who are likely to buy from you in the next 7 days. Google gives you automatically if you have good data. Google also gives you data or audiences, people who are not going to buy from you, people who will never use your site after 7 days, people who are likely to increase your revenue. So you can create different ad sets, different creatives. People who are likely to not come to your website after 7 days, you can retain them by running some ads. People who are likely to buy from you next 7 days, you can run some offer to those people. A lot of stuff can be done. So Google gives you predictive audiences, and that exactly happens because they collect a lot of data, they analyze, they understand who's doing what. So when I was working with this client, they wanted to create an audience of people who added to cart 5 times or 3 times. So that subsequently, I create an audience and then we retarget to those people. And if when I see those campaigns, the revenue from those campaigns was high because we were going after people who are ready to buy, and because of some something in life that comes in the middle, they couldn't buy, right? And don't think again, it becomes so clear. Don't think. Somebody says 50% of the ad budget on marketing is wasted. The problem is you don't know which 50%, right? So that is where you don't try to go with gut feeling, or you don't make an educated guess. You try to use data to understand where should you put your money, right? So now, what is conversion? A conversion is a specific action. Now here, people are doing a lot of actions. I told you, right? People do different events. So we capture all those events, whether it be a scroll, button, click, download, brochure download, watch a video, whatever it is, add to cart, view item, whatever. They fire different events. We capture those events and we send those to different platforms. We analyze the data, build reports, and then we take decisions on what should I do to improve my business. And can I go after those people and try to get more customers from them? But Prashant, when people do a lot of actions, right? But they might be doing a lot of actions, but you want to finally know, did he convert or not? So there are so many events, but there is one event, we call it as a conversion, which is the most prioritized one. Example, if I have an e-commerce site, when you come to my site, page view is an event, view item is an event, add to cart is an event, begin checkout is an event, or purchase is also an event. But purchase, I have special value for it because that gives me business revenue. So that event purchase, I will call it as a conversion. Purchase is also one event, but I call it as a special name called conversion. Right? So what is conversion? You should know. A conversion is a specific action that a user takes on a website that is valuable to your business. That is valuable to your business. People do add to cart. It's an important engagement. People who add to cart are the people who will buy. But did he add value yet? No. He is soon to add value. That's why we run campaigns to them, remarketing campaigns. It's value who actually takes an action which is valuable to a business. Conversion represents a successful outcome of a user's interaction with a site. Conversion represents a successful outcome. When you build a website, you always have one motive in mind. So when people come to my website and complete that particular action, which I think is the reason for my website's existence, that interaction, we call it as a conversion. Outcome of a user interaction with the site. And is often tied to business objectives and goals. You see, people come to my website, people do a lot of events, they can click event, they can chat with me, they might add to cart, they might generate lead, lot of events, right? Lot of events, right? But finally, there would be some events which I call them as conversions. That you have to decide what, according to my business, I should call it as conversions, right?
Prashant, I had a question. Like all the different events like you've shown, are there the tags separate for them, unique, or single tag works for all the events?
I have a good answer. Let's cross the bridge when we get to the bridge. I'm not talking about tags yet. We did
Yeah.
not go to any practicals, nothing we have done. I'm just trying to give you the basics so that from here we'll try to build. Okay,
Yeah, understood.
right? We will do all of these things practically. As we go practical, right? As we do them, all your questions will become relevant then, right? I'm only trying to give you some context, theoretical context, right? And this is very important for your practicals, right? We will do all of these things practically. Do not worry, right? So people do a lot of events. All the events I want to track. All the events means don't track anything like hover. When people hover the cursor on the logo, just because you can track doesn't mean you need to track it, right? I can track whenever you move the cursor also, but doesn't mean I'm going to track it, right? So you track things that are important. You track things that you have to invest time thereafter. Yes, to analyze the data, my time I have to invest. If you think your time is important in analyzing the data, only those stuff you track. Just because you can track anything, or just because you have a developer who can write a bunch of code and track any action like a mouse movement and key down and key up, don't track. Even if people drag, I want to track, like, don't do that, right? Only track the important actions, right? So importance of web analytics in online business. The reason why we implement web analytics is because we want to track the user's events, his actions, to understand the user behavior. If you understand the user behavior, only then you can improve your conversion rate. If you know people are buying, but you don't know how they are buying, how are you going to improve? How are you going to optimize the process or the sales funnel? So you want to understand the user's behavior, right? To understand from where and from which platforms they are visiting the website. Prashant, I'm doing ads on Google and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Quora. Prashant, I'm doing a lot of content production also. I'm writing blogs. People are coming to my site. But if you don't know people from which source are buying, you will not know where to invest your resources. Getting to know you got a conversion is one thing. Identifying where the conversion came from is an altogether different thing, right? If I know I'm getting sales, but I don't know where I'm getting my sales from, how will I scale and improve? Imagine if I have 4 employees and 4 of them are working to get me sales. If I don't know which employee is getting me how many sales, how would I know who to give my incentives to? There might be somebody who's doing better work who should be rewarded than somebody who's not doing any work but still treated same. You will be in dark, you'll think all 4 are working equally, but in reality, there might be somebody who's actually doing more work and there's somebody who's not doing any work. So what you can do, you can rip him off and then you can invest the money here on that employee and reward him, give him whatever. This is how you grow, right? So if you don't know from where or which platform users are visiting, then you can't make any decision. To understand the keywords or the search terms that people search, why this is important is because in the perspective of SEO, This is where you want to rank for. This is where you want to invest your money and resources. This is what people wanted. So your content should talk and engage people into that particular topic. See, I don't know, I don't want to talk about marketing, but in the world of marketing, it is always said marketing is all about communication. So when you're running ads, you should not start some campaigns are there to start a new conversation in the head of your prospect. You start a new conversation, but some marketing campaigns don't start a new conversation. They enter the existing conversation the prospect is already having in his head. Right? I'll give you one example. A lot of times the people who are into performance marketing, they think, hey, why am I not going? What should I do to scale my salaries? I'm getting like 1 lakh, 1.5. I want to go higher. I'm getting 50, 60. I want to go to 1.2. They're always thinking about it, whether you tell them or not. If I were an advertiser, if I tell him upskill, he'll think, oh, upskill, I don't know. But if I tell him like this, are you struggling? Find no road ahead. Right? So what I'm trying to do, that ad creative of mine is starting a new conversation. No, it is entering the conversation which he's already having in his head. Right? So that's how people write ad copies. Copies are not written just because you want to put your product. Don't put a product. People don't buy product. People buy benefits of the product. That's why I want people to learn all marketing, because the tracking and measurement is good and it works wonders for people who really have good marketing knowledge. They know what sells, how to sell it, and then use this data to really improve and optimize their whole approach. Right? To understand the keywords that user type into search engines to find a website, to find this is the perfect ad. It should be delivered to the right person, the right time, the right place. Because you have data, what's working, what time, which creative, what message. You can mix all of them to be able to, make your campaigns more successful, have better campaign results, or have successful campaigns. And finally, the most important one, to find the user journey to purchase. The user's journey to purchase. Right? That is where you have something called as funnel. I don't know if you know. There's a funnel, right? So you know how many people say. I'll just show you one example. Taken some screenshots a few days ago. Come on. Yeah, you see, this is one funnel. So I exactly know how many people view the product, how many of them added to cart, how many of them begin checkout, and how many of them purchased. Right? So you can set up a funnel literally for anything. So when you know and track what people are doing on the site, right? So you can put them up in a nice funnel to be able to understand where the real problem lies. And if you go and address that thing, you'll see definite improvement. And sometimes these small things will have a huge impact on the overall business model or revenue of the business, right? To understand the user's journey to purchase, we call it as a conversion journey or purchase journey. To understand the user persona, that we can tailor our website's content and product offerings to their specific needs. If people are coming to my website and are reading more of content related to sports and fashion, what I want to do, I want to be driving more such of traffic. So I tell, hey, this season is for sports, so please create more content, invest more resources on creating content for sports, right? Because that is where I make my money. I'm a big publisher. I make money when people come to my site because I serve ads on my website, right? So you understand what different type of people are coming to your site. And there's an amazing tool with LinkedIn Insight tag. If you have a website and you put LinkedIn Insight tag on your site, it will tell you the job titles and what category they belong to. Google will tell you who's coming, where they are coming. Who's coming means, they're coming from Google or Facebook, right? But it will not tell you what their job titles are, what category they belong to. In LinkedIn Insights, it also gives you some amazing demographic details. If only you have the LinkedIn Insight tag on your site. And people who are visiting your website are already have a LinkedIn member, right? So we can retarget a specific group of people who are interested in a product service. I want to retarget only those people who come to my site and seen a particular product, added to cart a particular product, not just added to cart a particular product or particular price. Only those people you want to do remarketing. To improve the website user experience. To improve the website's user experience. I don't know if it is time to show you something that I've done, how tracking will help you improve the content personalization. Right?
Yeah, please show.
I want to show something, not this.
So to get the insight and some of the experience you share is one of the very biggest incentive now.
You see here, when you come to my site tells me that you're coming this, right? Number one skill. Right? I search on Google, I come here again. You see? A small example. I can change the whole content, but I'm just trying to, I don't want to do much of stuff on the website, which is working wonderful for us. This is saying what? This is saying what? It is telling us, it is telling you right when you're on my site, hey, Anshul, this is your second visit to my site.
So this website is made in like the HTML or something else?
It's a WordPress website, buddy.
Okay.
Okay. Now what I will do
So
that
there is an
first.
option to add that, right?
No, there's no option to add. So tracking is not just for tracking some data. And what if I don't want to track any data? I want to use just tracking skills for my whatever skills. I call it tracking and measurement skills to personalize the content. So now what I will do again, I'll search on Google. Imagine you leave my site and then you come later. This is your third visit, and I'm telling you. First, I told you number one premium skill for performance marketers. Second time when you come to my site, I told you, hey, this is your second visit. That's it. Thank you. But when you come to my site for third time, I'm telling you, this is your third visit and you viewed 5 pages. And I can change this whole content only for you, which means when you come to my site for third time, you'll see a different content. When somebody comes to my site for the first time, he might see a different content. When you come to my site for the fourth time, rather than showing this image, I can show you a video, or I can welcome you with a video. I don't want to show that video to everybody who comes to my site. I want to show that video only to you because you're coming to my site for the fourth time. Why in the world should I show same content to you when you come to my site for fourth time? Why should I show same content to you? What will you get reading the same content? Right? A lot of stuff can be done. Let's get back to
Interesting, great.
let's get back to my presentation. To improve the website's user experience. So I can personalize the content. I can just, just a ton of stuff can be done. Right? And again, what I have realized is tracking and measurement is not fancy. Why? I used to do so much of that in the previous website when I was doing marketing and measurement bootcamp. And later, as years passed by, I understand there's a thin difference between a skill and a fancy stuff. I don't want to use the skill to do something fancy. I want to use it to be able to make some, contribution to the business, not flaunt that I can do this and that. Then I thought, hey, it's not so important. But I'm telling you what can be done. Right? So what are the popular web analytics tools? GA4, which is Google Analytics 4. Why I put it at the top? Because it's free of cost and what you can do with it is pure magic. Then there is Adobe Analytics. It is paid, but it gives you amazing power of user segmentations. Right? It is little complex. It's complex. There are a lot of things, they're not easy. The experience is not seamless. And trust me, I've worked with a lot of people who use both. They say Google Analytics is wonderful. If only you know how to use it. If only you can know how to use it. But Adobe Analytics is not free, it's paid. You have to pay. Again, it is complicated. You learn analytics or you learn interpreting the data. Right? There's something called Motomo Analytics. There's something called PBIC. There's something called Mixed Panel, Kissmetrics. So these are different tools that you can use to implement web analytics. To implement web analytics, these are certain tools, right? And then there is something called Google Tag Manager. Then there is something called Adobe Dynamic Tag Management, then Telium. These three are called tag management solutions. These three are called tag management solutions. What are tag management solutions? I will tell you in the next class. Prashant, I want to implement Google and Motomo, right? Both of them will give you their tracking code. So you go to developer and tell the developer Google Analytics code, Motomo code. So each time you want to go and put a new code, you go to developer. Rather than going to developer, you can use Google Tag Manager. So you go to developer only once. For one time, you tell developer to put Google Tag Manager on the backend. And every time you want to implement Google Analytics or Facebook Pixel or LinkedIn or Pinterest or whatever, you don't have to go to developer. You go to Google Tag Manager, because through the Tag Manager, you can implement all these tools. You can implement all these tracking things. And where is Google Tag Manager sitting? On the backend only. But rather than going and opening the backend, you open Google Tag Manager. Inside the Tag Manager you put it. And Tag Manager by default is on the backend. So this will safeguard you, not expose your backend every time you want to put a code. So you don't log into backend all the time. That is what Tag Management Solutions does. So Google Tag Manager is a product of Google. There is a product of Adobe also. It's called Adobe Dynamic Tag Management. Then there is something called Telium. Telium is also a tag management solution. Right. And three common myths about web analytics. There are three different myths that people think. Web analytics only tracks website traffic. Web analytics only tracks website traffic. No, I told you example that it can track the coffee machines also, if only you know how to send data to analytics. Web analytics, truth. Web analytics goes for far beyond just tracking the number of visitors to website. While measuring traffic is fundamental component, analytics encompasses a broad range of data points that can provide insights into user behavior, engagement, conversion path. Web analytics can track user engagement, right? It allows you to track a lot of stuff, which pages they go, how much time they spent, and bounce rate, and click paths, and a lot of stuff. Conversion tracking, to track most important actions like form submission, purchases, or downloads, or watch a video, scroll, spend 2 minutes on my site, and scroll 50% on my site, right? And people who do both spend 2 minutes and also scroll 80% of the content or read. User demographics and analyzing who your visitors are, including their demographics, interest, and device preference. You'll understand the most important thing. This is one of the most important thing. How users navigate through the website. So you understand, Prashant, as people navigate, there's a lot of people dropping off. There's some bottleneck here. So what you can go really see it. Prashant, there's a bottleneck here, but I don't know why people are dropping off. It tells you what is happening, but it cannot tell you why it is happening. Remember this. Analytics tells you what's happening. It cannot tell you why it is happening. To tell you why it is happening, there are different tools. One such tool is Microsoft Clarity. It gives you a session recording tool, a session replay tool, which means whenever people come to your site, it records the screen so you can go watch it like a video. So when you know, Prashant, there's a bottleneck here, inside of Microsoft Clarity, what you can go and see only those people who are dropping off, then you can see why people are dropping off. Is there any error message or people don't find something good there? There might be something that's hindering. That's exactly what's causing people to leave, right? But I know people are leaving. Why they're not leaving, why they're leaving, I don't know. So you can use a tool like Hotjar, Microsoft Clarity. But I say use Microsoft Clarity, is free of cost. And Microsoft Clarity last week, a week before that, they've released new updates to their interface. Trust me, it's amazing. They added a lot of stuff. They added funnels to it. They added, events that I can send events to Microsoft Clarity and tell them that keep these recordings separate. I can filter them, right? But two, Web Analytics provides all the answers. People think, Prashant, if only I implement Web Analytics, I'll get all the answers. No. Web Analytics provides valuable data, right? Rather than tracking everything, track how am I going to use Web Analytics for my business. Web Analytics provides valuable data, but it doesn't automatically deliver all the answers or insights needed for business decisions. Instead, analytics should be viewed as a tool that offers data points and trends, which must be interpreted and analyzed by humans to draw meaningful conclusions. Here's why Web Analytics alone may not be enough. If you know numbers, you don't know context, what's the point? Right? If you know numbers, you don't know context. Data needs context to be understood. Numbers alone are misleading without understanding the broader context of marketing campaigns. Qualitative insights. Analytics often needs to be supplemented, added with qualitative data, such as user feedback, surveys. That's why a lot of people, when they implement proper web analytics, they also understand how many people have given feedback, what type of feedback they have given. That's why they roll emails, because ultimately the job of somebody who's doing all these things to improve the business experience or business performance, right? To give a complete picture of the user experience and motivation. It allows you to think strategically, right? Third one, we think more data equals better insights. That's why I told you, it's not important to track everything that people do on the site. It's important to track only those actions that you think will add value to your business, right? Remember, data is only as good as you interpret, right? While having more data can be beneficial, it doesn't automatically lead to better insights. In fact, having too much data can be overwhelming and may lead to analysis paralysis. Where decision making is hindered by too much information. Here's why more data isn't always better. Data quality over quantity, right? You don't need more data. You need better data, right? Actionable insights. The goal of web analytics is to derive actionable insights that can inform strategy and decision making, focusing on key performance indicators, right? Key performance indicator is a business parameter. When it translates into web analytics, they become metrics. If you want to write this down, key performance indicators are business parameters. I want to get more sales. I want to sell more cars. That's my KPI. But when you translate that KPI into digital analytics, it says how many test drives this month. So your KPI will be get 1,000 test drives this month. Because if you get 1,000 test drives, you'll have more revenue. And more revenue is your business KPI. So you have a business KPI. When it comes to digital analytics, you turn that business KPI into metrics that you want. Right? For example, if I'm a car, I sell cars, I have a showroom. I want to sell, I want to have 500 cars sold this month. That's my KPI, business KPI. When I come to digital analytics, my parameter will be how many test drives I'm getting this month. So I will say, hey, I want 5,000 test drives. Test drive applications built, right? So that's my KPI. And then subsequently, I'll set up my marketing campaigns, because 5,000, I actually expect 500 of them to be sold. Not just that, a lot of other things that I can do. KPIs that matter to your business helps avoid getting lost in sea of data.
Sir, you said KPI is the business
parameters. But when you can't take business parameter inside of web analytics. You have to translate that into something that defines quantitatively in digital analytics or web analytics.
So KPI is business parameter and
metrics are web analytics parameters.
Okay, fine.
You translate KPIs to metrics, basically. And then you will optimize and run for that metrics. Prashant, I want this. I want to get this. Right? Example, Prashant, I want 100,000 revenue. That's your business KPI. When you come to analytics, you'll say, Prashant, to get 100,000 revenue, I want to get 2,000 orders. So 2,000 orders will be your metric that you want to go after. Right?
Yeah.
Efficient reporting and dashboarding focus on critical metric that drive performance. I'll show you one example. I don't know if I have it somewhere. We've built this for one client long back. This is just a dummy one, a dummy client and all. So there are some numbers. These are sessions, these are total number of users, this many transactions in that. Average transaction, that means they made a revenue of $40,000. Average transaction is 214. If you multiply 68 into 214, this will be the number. Right? So while I'm working with the client, if I can increase the order value by 10%, it is 214. If I optimize or do something to increase it by 10%, instead of 214, the revenue for each order or purchase value for each order would have been 235. And the overall revenue will be from 14 to 16,000. Are you with me?
Average order value would be the metric, right?
Right. So I can give it here. Prashant, what if I do very good and increase the average order value by 20%? Then these would have been my numbers. Imagining the traffic is same. I'm not saying you increase traffic, same traffic. Same conversion rate. Out of 100 people, only one purchases. Same amount of traffic. But instead of making people buy 214, if I could increase it and make it to 234, how do I do it? While he is buying, I'll show order bump. That, hey, you buy this, if you add this, you'll get it at this price. Together, looks good. That's how bundles of products works. It's a 14, it have been 17, which would be how much, 20% increase in the revenue. 14 to 17, which is close to 3,000. 3,000 means 14, 1450, which is 20% increase. Right, 20%, just by increasing the order value by 20%. Right, or maybe you say, no, 10, 20% is too hard. Maybe I can do it by 10% or 3% or 5%. Keeping everything same, keeping your marketing same budget, same number of people are coming. From the same number of people, the same conversion rate. Out of every 100, 3 people buy. Imagine if you're getting 10,000 people, imagine 300 people buy, same traffic. But because I'm optimizing the site by adding something or the other, if I can increase the order value by 10% also, this would have been my revenue. Right? So lot of stuff can be done. So that's where it becomes important that you understand what matters in this world. Not campaigns, but you run campaigns. Why? See, every marketer who runs a campaign runs with some end goal in mind. Right? He has something to achieve. Right? Without tracking that thing, you can never optimize your campaigns. You can never forecast your budgets. You can never scale. Right? Every time you launch a campaign, remember there is some target, some end goal. And if you're not tracking that, how will you do forecasting? How will you optimize your campaigns? Right? So, and again, I'm telling you, tracking is not just for fancy reporting and dashboards. No, it is to feed data to ad platforms so you can improve the performance of ad campaigns. Platforms, they become better. See, if you hire a telecaller today, imagine first 1 month she might talk to people, she'll slowly learn. But after 3 months, she knows what to speak. She knows just by talking to them, he'll join or he'll not join. He'll be my client or he'll not be my client. Right? That comes because they're also analyzing the data. They understand how they talk, what's to present. Right? So same ad platforms, and they have gazillions of data sets to analyze. Why or how can you not use that data? So tracking is not just for collecting data and creating some fancy dashboards. I want to show I have great skills. No, it's about eventually growing the business, teaching the ad platform what I need, right, and thereby making the business decisions, right. So that is where this comes, and all that you do in the world of digital marketing, whether you do organic or paid, it is built on some tech stack, right. That is exactly what we're going to learn, right. So yeah, so this is it for today. So this is your first class. Next class, I will start with the subject. We'll start jumping into practicals. We'll start doing analytics and tag manager. We will learn JavaScript. We'll learn DOM scripting. I will also teach you, that you learn, that you play and learn. Right? There's some things that we have that you can play and learn. It becomes a game, but you learn subject. Right. So that's it from me today. So I hope you have. And again, I'm telling you, please make sure that you go and read that book. This book is very, very amazing book. Please make sure it adds a lot of insights. It only makes you better and better. What you learn, you then think, hey, he told me something, and this is exactly what it is. If I can only do this, no, trust me, my business will go, to another level. Right? Please make sure that you read it. Only this book. I'm not going to give you any other book. Right? When it comes to subject, you want to learn subject, then you'll read some articles. But I'm talking about what are the things that you'll eventually do to show the value that you bring, right? And that book is one of the best books. Please make sure that you read it, buy it. Okay, right. I think that's it for me for today. So I don't want to rush. That's it. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Ankit, I think I see you have a question.
Yeah. Prashant, today was an excellent session. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And I just want to ask, what is the level of the JavaScript? Of course, we are going to discuss the next class. But like, if you can prepare something, what is the level of JavaScript knowledge do we need to become an effective measure marketer? So can you just throw on a light on a very brief, a minute or a 30-second will be fine.
Yeah. See, the whole point of learning JavaScript is not that you'll become a developer. Okay. The point
Okay.
of JavaScript is that at least you'll get to a point that you start understanding what should be done. Lot of times you are in a position where you say, Prashant, I won't do it. I'm just learning because I want to understand. Right? So what you will do, you learn to an extent where, if I have a problem, I know how to solve the problem. Whether you will do it or get it done from somebody, but at least you should know the approach to solve a problem, right?
Okay.
Right. So you need to learn one programming language. And one thing I'll tell you here, without browser, nothing can happen, right? Without browser. And
Agreed.
browser only understands JavaScript.
Actually, perfect. Yes.
If you want browser to do something for you, it only understands JavaScript.
Yes.
And how in the world that you'll believe that you will survive or thrive in digital marketing world, whether you're doing organic or paid, without this basic knowledge of browser and how browsers work? There is a browser technology. There's a separate browser technology.
Yes.
Yeah, must be.
That is a browser fingerprinting and
Right?
web
Yeah.
RTC
Lot of
and
stuff. If you get into it, it gets exciting. But again, there is a line that if I cross this, it becomes complete programming, which I don't want to be entering.
agreed.
Right? So you, rather than learning that stuff, maybe you can learn something that you do every day, or the problems that most advertisers have.
Okay.
As you
Perfect.
rightly said, Prashant, that browser is altogether different technology. As a layman, I was not understanding this, but when I realized why Google introduced the Chrome, when I get into the digital marketing analytics, then I realized, oh, this is so important, and they capture the market.
Yes. See, I'll tell you, Apple is playing because people are using Safari.
Yeah.
Right. If those people are not using Safari and use Chrome, no, there will not be a problem.
Yeah, and the Apple Google will not pay Apple the amount they pay.
Right, lot of things, and because they own that Safari, they say, hey, we're not going to allow third-party cookies.
Yeah,
Even if
yeah.
cookies are there, we'll restrict them to 7 hours or 24 hours.
Correct.
Right? If everybody is using Google Chrome, and again, slowly the world is moving to a privacy-conscious world. So Google also came up with a lot of updates where they say, hey, conversion can be tracked as effectively as you can do now, but you cannot exactly identify who the user is. They'll do a lot of modeling to be able to report attribute conversions. There'll not be a loss, but if we have there's a saying in English: if you have 100 security people, you can find 101 ways to break it.
Yeah. Prashant ji, I will take this opportunity as we are just finished early and you are being a long time in this industry. Just can you highlight how this privacy journey has been from 2013-14, what you are doing till today?
See, again, it all came into prominence after this Cambridge Analytica thing, where people
Okay.
used a lot of data to change the perception of a voter towards voting for somebody. They were manipulating people, right? Because they had so much of data, and they manipulated people by circulating content that changed the perception of voter from pro somebody to becoming a pro someone else,
Okay.
right? And it was and nobody, see, Google has vast amounts of data, but nobody knows to what extent they use the data. They collect data, but Google never said what are they going to use that, right? See, it is powerful, it is dangerous, Google, right? And in fact, see, I'll tell you, if you log into Facebook, every action you do on Facebook is tracked. For every person who logs into Facebook, they create a profile of every user. What they will do, how are they using it, we don't know, right? So it became too dangerous, too risky, and people said, hey, I want to keep my privacy with myself. How can somebody not ask me and track everything about me, and I still don't know it, right? So that's
Yeah.
where slowly, NGOs and society slowly started raising voice and became uh, a subject that people spoke about. And then slowly, European Union said, hey, yeah, we are very particularly cautious about the European people. And they say, hey, all the traffic, all the user data that Google collects is stored in the US of people who are from Europe. They say the first thing that you can at least do is store the European users' data in the Europe. Build your database centers, or what do you say, the big servers in Europe. So now, if now all the data that user tracks about Europeans, the data is saved in Europe. It's not sent to another country. Right? Example, I tell you, there's a discussion. A lot of Indians use Visa, but where is the server? It's in America. It's not in India. Why somebody who's using Visa from India, their data why should be in some other country? Why it has to go across the borders of the country? Right? Basically, every country enjoys their sovereignty, and there's certain things nobody see, unless it becomes a point of discussion or point to a subject, right? Nobody cared about it, but once it became slowly, it became important, and then started. So Google India also introduced a privacy bill. There's something called CCPA, California Consumer Privacy Act. Then there's GDPR, right? Then there is one for Argentina, right? So yeah, but Indians, you don't have to really worry about it, because this nobody knows much.
On the name of this privacy, what I've been seeing from the last lot of time, the marketers are deprived of a lot of good data which was previously supplied. Just give an example. A long back, we used to get the search term into the Google Analytics. Now that has been stopped.
Right. I can tell
And
you one
I
tool.
and I don't understand when they can give the same data for the paid one, why they cannot give it for the organic one.
That is strange. That is strange. Google says, "Hey, I'm not going to give you search data for organic traffic, but I'm going to give you the search term report inside of Google."
Yeah.
Recently changed. They're not going to give you search term report for every click that you get. They might not give you all the data. But there is a company called Keyword Tool. You might want to check it. Keyword Tool, Keyword Hero.
Keyword
Keyword Hero.
hero. Keyword hero. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They have a proprietary solution which they say if you connect your Google Search Console and Google Analytics, they might possibly give you some lost data on the search terms of users, right? But essentially, if you're smart enough, if only you know where people are landing on your site, which page they're landing, and if you know which source they're landing, you can understand if people are
That is
landing on.
okay. The point I'm driving that on the name of privacy, Google is also somehow getting this conversion and attribution so cloudy, so it's become difficult to attribute is working or not working. So sometimes I feel that they're just getting it to the black box level. पैसा डालो निकला तो ठीक है नहीं निकला तो ठीक है.
Right. See, again, yeah, one thing, Google is in the business of promoting other businesses, right?
Correct.
They are in the business of promoting other businesses. So yeah, as a company, whatever legal complications have, they know how to fight. While I was in Google, I remember I had one client from Australia, and my manager was what do you say, summoned by Australian Supreme Court or something. So he had to fly, he had to be in the hearing, and we gave them close to $800,000 US dollars, a refund, because he says because the ad was not approved or ad was suddenly disapproved. I lost so much of business. And Google also cannot come and tell me, I will not run your ads, but I will run your competitor ads. No. The Competition Commission of India won't allow that. It's not. It is not simply that Google can employ their monopoly. A lot of other commissions and stuff monitor, but people should know to what extent they can fight. And
But still, the present solution in analytics is still insightful. That's you agree with that.
that is what I'm telling you. It's not about collecting more data. It's about understanding what can I use analytics for.
Correct.
How can I collect data that will help me improve my business? If you have that approach, that will be good. Right? Analytics will not give you everything. Everything I'll get to see in analytics. No. Rather than thinking like that, you think like this: how can I use this analytics to extract some insights for my business? Insights that really make sense.
Great. And Prashant, clarity as a product is as complicated as
Oh,
Google
it's very
Analytics.
easy. I find it very easy. But for that, you need to learn a bit of JavaScript. There are a lot of features in. See, if you want to set up funnels, you want to only look at recordings of a certain funnels of users who've crossed or example, you come to my site. Everybody comes to my site. Clarity tracks, but you come to my site, view product, add to cart, and begin checkout. I only want those people. So I should be able to communicate to Clarity and say, hey, these are the events that people have performed. So basis that I can go filter, I can create a funnel, so I can only look at them. Right.
And Prashant, sorry.
And Clarity also have something called sampling, because they store huge amount of data. These recordings, it amounts to huge. So they say, hey, we're going to sample. So and I don't want to make decisions from a data which is sampled. Right. So there is a way in Clarity to be able to communicate to Clarity, telling them that don't sample this particular session.
Okay.
Because this is very important for me. Like that.
My challenge is that I work with the SMEs only in engineering segment. So I don't have too much visitors on my website. My is a lead generation. See, I help engineering company to sell machines and all, which is a high value item. So if we get a monthly 20 conversion, is more than happy. But the flip side of that, I don't get that statistical quantity of the data which allowed me to do the experimentation fast. Any your insight on that?
See, basically, for your kind of getting 20 sales is good, but to be able to get 20 sales, how many of those leads you should generate? For let's say 150 leads, out of them 25. Let's imagine 150 leads, right? All those 150 leads, you speak to them, right?
They say they submit the form, and then the customers pop in.
Yeah, 150 people submit the form. You call all 150 or you just call 20?
No, all 150.
You call all 150.
Yeah.
From those 150, only 20 buy, right?
Yeah.
Some people you call twice, some people you call thrice, right? So when you feed this data also to Facebook, it understands that, Prashant, for somebody to buy, they should at least have this much. He should have at least have 3 calls that people will buy, right? And that data, when you supply to Facebook, Facebook does an amazing job. That is where lead conversions API was introduced by Facebook, not conversions API. It's a lead conversions API, particularly for websites who are into lead generation using Facebook's native form, lead forms.
Okay.
We will talk about.
Sure, Prashant. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Ankit, you still have your hand raised. Ankit,
yes, yeah. Just a small, I don't know if this thing is available. Like now, currently the new AI technology is being taking place. Is there any tool which will interpret all the data which we have collected via Google Analytics and gives us some suggestions?
Yes. That I will ask Raj sir to share one class. Not now. Once we get to that point, I'll ask Raj sir today, because he works on so much of data and all. So yeah, there are tools, right?
Like some sort of suggestion.
If I ever get to have a screenshot of what data inside of analytics, like if I set up a funnel and all, I want somebody to interpret that data and give me. That's it. Yes, that's what. Microsoft Copilot.
Microsoft Copilot. Okay.
take a screenshot of that chart and upload that, and it'll give you the instructions of what that thing is saying.
Perfectly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you
night.
so much, guys.
Bye,
Thank you so much.
everybody.
Bye. Bye.